I'm Drew Smith for Spotlight on the Law, and we've been discussing the costly mistakes that Nebraska accident victims make with author and attorney David Handley of Dyer Law. We've already talked, David, about the fact that it's so important to take immediate action, document everything that happens following the doctor's orders. And we've also busted some of those common myths with Mike Dyer of Dyer Law. If you've missed any part of this program, spotlightonthelaw.com/Nebraska. You can request a copy of this program or the book at no charge. So that is a great service right there. Now, we're up to mistake number 4 of the 7 costly mistakes that accident victims will make. Mistake number 4 is giving statements, signing papers, or accepting insurance company estimates without first getting legal advice. Now, that seems to me like that could happen a lot with people.
Absolutely. We see it all the time. A lot of times insurance companies will get in right away. They'll want to see you. I've had them come to people's homes, show up at their homes, ask them to sign documents. A lot of times they're looking for releases of your medical information.
Right.
So they'll have you come in there, you're all doped up, you don't know, okay, here you go, nice insurance guy. You sign the release, they're out there getting your medical records and trying to get all kinds of stuff on you later on down the road. And that's all without someone there who cares about the person who's been hurt and wants to take care of them. The insurance company, they're not interested in that. They're interested in closing that claim, spending as little money as possible, and getting on to the next claim.
David, you were talking about the case where someone might be in the hospital, let's say they're on some medication, someone from the insurance company is in there and telling them to sign these forms, and they do. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. How would that happen?
Well, I'll tell you.
And are people obligated to sign something? You
know, a lot of times when an insurance person comes in and they seem very official, they're usually very nice, very polite, you know, and sometimes we have a hard time telling people, no, leave me alone. And I'll tell you what, Drew, that injured person is absolutely not obligated to sign a thing or to even talk to that insurance adjuster. You're perfectly fine in telling them to please leave.
You talk about sometimes a mistake number 5 in the book, not hiring an attorney or not hiring the correct attorney. A lot of us don't know an attorney, and we might not know where to turn. How does someone avoid making that costly mistake?
Go ahead and take a look and see what information's out there about the attorney. You know, how can you tell what an attorney's interested in? Well, take a look at what they do. Take a look to see at the things that they're doing for you right now, and you don't even know them. For example, here's a free book. Take it. You read it. You know what? If you need help, let us know. We're going to help you.
Here's what's interesting, I think, and this could be a sticky topic for you, because mistake number 6 in the book is not being honest with your lawyer or failing to cooperate with your lawyer. It's important for your lawyer to know all the details about the case. Give me an example of why someone might not want to do that and how that would backfire, why that is such a costly mistake.
Sometimes people come into these things with this, you know, preconceived idea that if I just don't say something that I know will harm me, if I just don't get that out there.
They're a little bit afraid.
Yeah, they're a little bit afraid, but they think, well, if I don't say it, then it didn't really happen.
Sure.
And so maybe no one will find out. I've got to tell you, it is absolutely the wrong attitude to bring into the situation. You need to be honest with your attorney. You need to tell them everything. You know, sometimes there's things that are not helpful for a case, okay? But if we know about it up front, we're probably a lot more able to deal with it and work around it knowing it up front. But if a person lies to me and I find out about it at the end, there's not much I can do about it, Drew.
So what would happen if someone was in a wreck and you were representing that person and their registration or their license was out of date and they didn't tell you that? That's what you're talking about.
Well, not necessarily that. You know where we see it a lot? Where we see it a lot is we'll ask our clients, hey, have you ever been hurt before? Have you ever hurt your back before? Have you ever hurt, you know, whatever part of their body they're saying now is hurt, we'll ask them, have you ever hurt that before? And it's not always that people are being deceptive. Sometimes they just forget.
Yeah.
You know, they may have had something 10 years ago that's happened. Or, you know what, they may have been treating just yesterday for that injury.
Sure.
And you know, sometimes they don't mention it. But if we know about it up front, we can help that person, or we can give them certainly a lot better evaluation of their case, knowing the full information.
Great information there. It's time to go back to Gail Hurd, who is with co-author and attorney Mike Dyer of Dyer Law for some more of that consumer myth busting. Gail?
Thanks, Drew. Well, Mike, if you were in an accident and it wasn't your fault, there must be some insurance company that will pay for the medical bills, lost wages, injuries, and fixing the car. Is this a fact or myth?
Well, that depends. It could be a fact if the person who hurt you had insurance. They'll pay for they'll be responsible to pay for your property damage, your medical bills and lost wages and things like that. If that person had no insurance, then it's up to your own insurance policies.
Well, Mike, here's another. If you could just go to court and tell your story to a jury of your peers, you'll get awarded adequate compensation for all your losses. Fact or myth?
That's a myth.
You know, if something like that actually happened to me, I was in an accident with my cousin. Someone hit us. I wanted to sue the person who hit us, but because my uncle owned the car, I would have to sue him. And believe me, that didn't go over very well with my uncle.
Well, that's just not true. The problem is you're not allowed to mention insurance when you're in a courtroom. So even though your uncle would have had insurance and you would name that insurance company, or the insurance company would defend your uncle, they try to give the impression that your uncle is going to have to pay it out of his own pocket. It's just not true.
Thanks, Mike, for helping us bust some of these myths today. You know, because it is important to know your rights. And I understand that Dyer Law has developed a client bill of rights, about 10 in fact. What do you think, in your opinion, is the most important of these rights?
I think the most important right is to remember that we work for you. You, as our client, are the ultimate decision maker. So we're going to present your options, but the decision is yours to make.
It's good to know. Thanks a lot, Mike. Back to you, Drew.
Thanks very much, Gail. That was some great information there. And coming up after the break, be sure to stay with us because my conversation about the costly mistakes that accident victims make continues with author and attorney David Handley of Dyer Law. Stay right there. Spotlight in the Law continues right after this.
This guy hit my car, and now his insurance company's blowing up my phone. Should I give a statement?
No. Insurance companies will try to settle your claim before you even know how badly you're injured or while you're medicated. They will use your statements against you later.
You deserve to be compensated for your medical bills, to get your car fixed, and any other losses that you've had. That's why Nebraskans pay car insurance.
Call 1-888-DYER-LAW for a free review of your case, or click dyerlaw.com to learn more.
Put our team to work for you.
I'm Drew Smith. Spotlight on the Law today has really focused on the costly mistakes that accident victims make. We've been talking with author and attorney David Handley of Dyer Law. Reporter Gail Hurd has also been joining us, busting some myths, along with co-author and attorney Mike Dyer. Now, if you've missed any part of this program today and you'd like to learn more, all you have to do is go to the website. You visit spotlightonthelaw.com/Nebraska, spotlightonthelaw.com/Nebraska. You can request a copy of the book or this program for free, so that is a great service. The final costly mistake that you point out in the book with Mike Dyer, and is something that may strike people to be a little bit interesting, is that it's exaggerating your illnesses or your injuries and not being completely forthright with your attorney. That could be a real problem.
Absolutely. Exaggerating things, getting more drama in it than is necessary will only hurt you in the long run, and it affects your credibility for honesty and trustworthiness.
So like our grandma and grandpa's always told us, honesty is the best policy, right?
It absolutely is.
David, what about people that aren't quite sure? You're watching the program today, you're saying, I'm not sure if I need to call an attorney, but what you're saying is you can call Dyer Law and get a free review of the case.
Absolutely, absolutely free.
What is it that people should ask you when they call you?
Something that people really ought to ask and that they ought to really know, not just when they call us or when they call any attorney, is really, attorney, what kind of work do you do? Do you just work in accidents? Do you do criminal law and divorce law and wills and trusts and estates and all that other kind of stuff? And the reason that you want to know that is you want to see what that person practices in the most. And in our case, we only help people that are hurt, whether they're hurt in car crashes, whether they're hurt, on the job. We just focus on people who are injured.
But why is that what you focus on?
It's because that's what we're passionate about. Mike he used to be a police officer until he was injured on the job. He cares about people who have been hurt. He's been there. He knows what it's like. You know, I come from a counseling background. I enjoy helping people that have been hurt. And I'll tell you, if I can, just a quick personal thing. I was thinking about it the other day, you know, why have I gotten into this field and what I'm doing? And it's kind of funny, I had a memory from when I was in first grade. And when I was in first grade, there was a boy who was like third or fourth grade. He was much bigger than me. And he bullied me. He bullied me around for, I don't know, a couple of days. It was taken care of and all that. But I'm telling you, I've not forgotten what it's like to be bullied. Even more than a quarter of a century later, I remember what it was like to feel that way. And when people are hurt, they're vulnerable. And when the insurance company's bullying them, I know what that's like, and I've got to tell you, it strikes a chord in me.
Well, this has been great. I've really learned a lot today. I know our viewers have too, and it's great that you're here to help and that you're offering this book free for all Nebraskans and everyone watching today's program. Coming up next on Spotlight on the Law, we're going to talk again with author and attorney David Handley and Mike Dyer about workers' compensation and their book, 7 Common Mistakes That Can Destroy Your Workers' Compensation Case and How to Avoid Making Them. Well, I'm Drew Smith, and unfortunately, David, we are out of time today, but we'd like to thank our authors and attorneys, David Handley and Mike Dyer of Dyer Law. If you'd like a free copy of this program or the book that we've talked about, discussed today, please visit spotlightonthelaw.com/Nebraska. The preceding show is a paid program. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of LMA and Vitalink.